there, listeners. Welcome to Shit That Goes On in Our Heads, the podcast where we normalize conversations around mental health.
That's right. I'm Dirty Skittles, and alongside my amazing co-host, Rex, we are here to share stories and tips from our incredible guests.
Each episode, we deep dive into struggles and triumphs of mental health, offering practical advice and heartfelt support.
Because no one should feel alone in their journey. Join us as we break the stigma and build a community of understanding and compassion.
Tune in and let's start talking about the shit that goes on in our heads. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. And today I'm here with my amazing co-host, Dirty Skittles. And we have an awesome guest, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Welcome, and a fellow New Englander, so I'm so excited.
Yay!
So, Jennifer, what would you like to share with our listeners?
Well, I have a healing journey that I pushed off for so long. And the route that this healing journey has taken me has brought about an immense love letter to my healing through my doll, My Moody Monster.
I like that you called it a love letter. First question off the bat, how long did you put it off before you started your healing journey?
Ooh, a very long time. My trauma stems from childhood. And in high school and going into college, I had to put my abuser in prison. So I was going through being a teenager, being a college student, and also being this person who needed to face their fears and look their abuser in the eye as we put them in prison. And after that, I really just wanted to be a college student. I just wanted to be a regular girl in this world, doing what I can to make myself happy. So I just kept saying, not yet. Not yet. I'm in college. Not yet. I just started my career and I got married. And then finally is the not yet. I'm a mother now. And how could I possibly take away time from these beautiful souls to work on myself? So I pushed it off for a very long time until my brain finally said, right now. And that was because I had owned a boutique and I had to close the boutique and go into bankruptcy. And I felt like I lost a piece of my identity. And my brain just said, right now, you got to do this right now.
And what was the first step for you?
Admitting that I had to do this journey because there was no way that I was going to be able to function in the way that I always wanted to function for myself and for my family and friends. I'm a very big people pleaser. I got that from childhood. And so I was afraid going on this journey that I'd be taking away from others. So I had to admit to myself, you have to do this to do it for everyone you love.
Yeah. Can I ask you more about that? Like the admitting?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I'm asking because I think I'm selfishly putting myself in that space with you. So when you're ready to admit, okay, now is the time to address this. What was this for you? Like, what was so scary that you're now jumping into it? What was that?
Well, the fear that I had held inside for so long while I did all of these not yet moments was the fear that I was not going to be able to function as a human being, that I was going to look at this trauma and it was going to be so traumatic that I just went inside myself, or I wasn't going to be able to do the everyday things that I needed to do for my children, for my husband. Again, the people pleasing.
Yeah.
I just felt like I needed to always be available for others and not for myself.
Yeah. Had you ever tried before, or was this like the first time, like trying to get
My
help?
brain had made me do it a couple of times in the past, but I'd always put the Band-Aid over it instead of really doing the work. I would go inpatient when I needed to, when I knew that it was just way too much for me. And I overcame that stigma of going into inpatient hospitalization. But I never truly put the effort into it. I just wanted that Band-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally relate to that. Like, just make it stop. But then it gets to a point where it can't stop. And then you have to deal with it. But, I think that part of it too is like our age, right? And our generation. Because we've been told that we put everybody else first before we put ourselves first. And number two, we don't talk about the shit that goes on in our heads. Okay. You just march on, do your shit, and move on to the next thing. And that was a huge disservice to us as kids and even as young adults and adults, because now we have to learn how to take care of ourselves mentally.
And our parents' generation was the generation that believed it was better to look good than to feel good, and to be that perfect family on the outside and not show that there is serious abuse or lack of self-esteem or any of the things that we needed as we grew older to be functioning adults.
Yeah. Yeah. When I heard you first start talking, and I don't know your story at all, but when I heard you first start talking, the first thing that I thought of was, man, you're brave, right? You're brave to have faced that before admitting you needed help, right? Like, you faced your abuser, which I think that to me is scary as fuck. Like, that shit is scary as hell.
Yeah, it was really scary. My abuser also didn't understand boundaries in any way, shape, or form, obviously, because he was my abuser, but he would try to come into our house for years after he had been taken from the home, just believing I have every right to do this. So there would be times where I had to stand up to him in order for him to just leave us alone. And it was really, really hard, but by the end of it, there was so much anger and fury involved in it that I was just like, get the fuck out of here. Just leave. And the people in our community didn't believe us. This was also my brothers, and I had two older brothers. And we would get shamed in our community because they would say, we don't believe you. I used to have to walk to work every day, and I'd pass by it was called Artie's. It was a gas station. And my father, my abuser, would go there all the time. And every time I passed by this gas station, he would yell at me, "You're a lying bitch," or he would say awful things, screaming. And I could hear it over my Walkman.
Wow.
It was crazy. But in those times, I did learn to toughen up. Not that I was supposed to or should have toughened up, but I did.
Where did you learn that from to toughen up?
It was inside me, because I think that inside me was a girl on fire and furious and ready to just rage on people. And also, I was very punk back in the day. I still am, but I was pretty punk back then.
Okay. No, I love that. I love that. I'm starting to come to like this point in my life where, and maybe this is like growing up, being taught in some way that like you're supposed to be quiet and well behaved and like easygoing. And I think literally it's taken me now in my 40s to understand that there's like actual beauty in like the rage of a woman and like how it can propel you into something, right? That you're afraid of, that you can just jump into it. So like I'm starting to get to that point where it's okay to be mad. You know what I mean? Which is huge.
It is definitely okay to be mad. And the fact that you took the bull by the horns and you were like, I'm going to change this. And that's something to be really proud of, because there's so many people out there that are afraid to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, it took a lot. But, my brain was just in that stage where it was not allowing me to move forward. I was unable to communicate well with people, my loved ones even. I broke up with my boyfriend at the time. I just did not have the ability to be around other people, honestly. And that's when I knew that I had to put a team together and start work on this journey.
Yeah. Were you always angry? Is that why you couldn't be around people, or what was?
Sadness mainly. And sadness is the emotion that people hate sitting with the most. It's so uncomfortable. That's why when sadness comes around for me, it does jump to anger because my secondary emotion is there to make it feel like I am more in control.
Right? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that for me. I do get sad. If I'm sad or scared, the next emotion is anger. But I always thought it is I'm protecting myself. And I think I go back to the little skittle that I was back in the day. And no, I'm going to protect that inner child, and anger comes out. And then it's rage central.
Well, you can't keep it stuffed down.
And now that you're going through premenopause, it comes out even 1,000 times worse.
Oh, God help me. It's been terrible. It really has.
Oh, no.
It's been screwing with all parts of my body and brain.
Yeah. So that's what this continues for a while is what you're saying. Okay.
Get used to it. Sure. It doesn't get any better. It doesn't.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed that once it's all over and all said and done, that I'll just be relieved and be like, okay, now I'm in my crone era. And that's the way I'm moving.
Yeah, I am just starting, but I think the hardest struggle so far, I guess, has been controlling emotions. Not even controlling them, but understanding why, right? I'll feel something and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is that happening right now? And I'm trying to dive into what is creating that emotion. And it's just fucking perimenopause, man. Sucks.
It sucks.
Okay, so let's take a step back. So your abuser had to be tough. What age were you when you did that?
I was 19 or 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you become a mom and face it. You admit that you need help.
Yeah. 10 years later, okay. I have these kiddos. I have my first one. My first one was really difficult. My first son had a lot of mental health issues. Even when he was very young, he was suicidal. The first time that he had said anything about being suicidal, he was 2 years old and said, I just don't want to be here anymore, Mommy. I don't want to live. And that was heartbreaking for me. And I thought that, of course, being the person who's been through trauma, I immediately thought, I did this to him. I gave him this because I have the same ideation and the same kind of depression. And I felt so badly. I was like, why did I have to give this to this sweet little boy?
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
How do you get around that feeling?
I had to just come to terms with it's not necessarily my fault. I didn't go into motherhood thinking, and then my child will have mental health issues and I'll need to help him through that. But it also shone a light on my own suicidal ideation and how I needed to learn to cope so that I could give him some coping skills as well.
Yeah, no, that's super important. Like when I went to therapy, the therapist that worked, I will say, oh God, I don't even remember how old my son was at that time, but it was after I had my son and now I'm a mom. And I remember sitting there doing dishes one night, literally like it was yesterday. I remember it, doing dishes, and I was just always on edge. So I always was in like a fight or flight response, which I didn't know like my whole life, just from childhood trauma until I'm a mom now, right? Like I'm always on edge. And I remember thinking like, oh, I don't want him to see my behavior and pick up on that. And I knew I had to get my shit together. And I knew exactly where it was coming from in childhood trauma. So for me, that was how that journey began. And I remember going through therapy thinking and talking to my therapist and knowing that when my son has big emotions or any emotion, I wanted him to be able to identify what they were, and so that we can talk about it and feel open. And I didn't want him to hide how he was feeling the way I did, or at least thought I was fucking hiding it. But I was a raging bitch all the time is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we don't learn to emotionally regulate because we weren't taught by our parents or anyone in our family. We can't possibly understand how to help the child when we're ourselves spinning out.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't teach you anything like that in school.
Right.
Nothing.
Right. It's crazy. They have a health class, but no mental health class.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, mental health was not health. And to an extent, it still isn't considered mental health care. I have been jumping through hoops. My youngest son needs a therapist. And I've been jumping through hoops in insurance and they're like, oh no, you're going to have to pay this certain amount of deductible before we'll even do half of the cost of this therapist. And I'm like, this child needs this help because he is struggling. If he was struggling breathing or struggling with running or being able to do something physically, you would take care of this. But just because it's in his brain, it doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah, that's tough. That's fucking tough. We took our son to get diagnosed for ADHD. And I remember even that was like, well, why are you doing that? Did the doctor tell you to do that? Like, what? I'm like, what the fuck? It's crazy.
I think parents know best for their kids. Like I don't have any kids, so I'm just going to base it off of what I know. I have Dirty Skittles and other friends that I know that have kids, but the kids feed off of you, right? And if they see you're sad, it makes them sad, and then they question you. And like, I can see how hard that is as a parent to try and navigate that within a system that doesn't want to help them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's got to be frustrating, and it pisses me off. So.
Yeah, because it's almost like for me, I see it as like a preventative measure, right? Like I can see and I can identify that there's something that you're struggling with that you don't have the words to describe. He was 6 at the time. So like, he doesn't know what's happening. But as a parent, to be able to take them to, like, I'm like, shit, at least I'm taking him to a specialist, right? Like, fuck, like I'm not just diagnosing my kid. Like I want to get him help. And why is it so difficult to do that? How was it for you though, as a child? Did your family support you? Were they there to help you identify and fight and face this abuser?
Well, I think my mother was truly overwhelmed in so many ways. I think she has her own trauma from her own childhood that this generational trauma was coming from. And she was so overwhelmed, but she did require us to go to a therapist. I was 14 when all of this came out. And that was a big part of it. And including when I went to college, she required that I go to my therapist or that she would cut me off financially. And at the time, I thought that was terrible. I'm like, what the hell? Jeez, you're just going to dump me because I'm not seeing a therapist? But seeing what my son now is going through, and he is going off to college in the fall, I actually required it of him. I thought it was horrible back when I was a kid, but my mom was doing the right thing for me, even though it felt like it was kind of like a slap in the face. Like, here I am becoming an adult and you're requiring me to do something. But it helped me a lot. And it's really important, I think, for kids who are struggling to have that third party, that person outside of the family, outside of friendships, that they can go to and talk about anything. And it never gets to anybody in their circle.
The safe space.
That's such an important thing. And maybe just another message for like kids out there too is, and even adults, like if you're not happy with the therapist you're seeing, speed date them. Yes. I know I saw 3 before I found the one that really clicked with me. And I got that saying from Dirty Skittles. We say it all the time now. If you are not happy with who you are seeing, shop around.
Yeah. Yes. And know that it's not you. You're not the problem. I think that's why when I got to the speed date your therapist mentality, it was because I had already seen 2 therapists. And I thought, man, I must be that far gone where I'm not fixable, right? Like, no, they weren't a good fit. Speed date your next therapist. So when I went, I was like, oh no, I'm determined. I'm finding somebody who can help me. And I knew what questions to ask at that point. And that was when I found the one that worked. And that's why I was so passionate with you. Like, I'm like, speed date the therapist, man. Don't feel bad about ghosting them or saying, oh, this isn't a good fit. Moving on.
100%. And when I was creating my team, my mental health team, when I decided to start the journey, I really took the time to ask people that I knew, not just going into a book and saying, okay, I'll try this therapist and that therapist. I was asking around, and my son had a social worker because he was under the Department of Mental Health. And I asked her, and she was like, okay, I got the woman for you. I have your therapist. And I went to meet her, and she was much younger than me. And the old gal in me was like, how can this young little girl help me out? But it was incredible. I absolutely adore her. And I gave her the chance. I think with younger therapists, they're going through more training now and learning more modalities of ways that we can learn to help ourselves. Right. Yes. And maybe some of the older therapists may not have had the kind of training that. And she has introduced me to a world of wonderful coping skills. And I'm able to build that coping skill toolbox because of what she knows.
Did I hear you right when you said when you were building your therapy team?
Yes.
Okay. So what does that mean?
So for me, that meant my therapist. I hadn't been seeing one. I had stopped seeing one that didn't fit me.
Right.
And I decided that I was going inpatient. And I am lucky enough to live near the premier mental health hospital in the country, McLean Hospital. And so I knew that I needed to go inpatient and get that team together, which gave me a pharmacologist, gave me a social worker, and gave me the ability to get into group therapy with the McLean team. And I think that was what I really needed in order to say, okay, I am strapped in and ready to take this ride.
Okay, I love that. How is group therapy? Are you nervous to like your first day going into group therapy? Was it like a nerve-wracking experience? Because I'm thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking there are other people there with you that aren't your therapist, right? Like there are other individuals. I would be so scared.
You know what? I hated group therapy when I was a kid. Like a bunch of teenagers sitting around being like, I don't want to be here. I want to go out and smoke and I need a cigarette. Why are you keeping me in here? But now when I started going to group therapy back then, I realized that these people have gone through the same thing that I have. They've had the same kind of traumatic events that have pushed me through the ringer. And they can understand me in a way that my friends' family can't. So it was really, it was an eye-opener.
That's so, it's such a good thing to bring up, is that our friends and our families are great. They really are. Okay.
They mean well.
They mean well. But like sometimes we just need a third party that doesn't know us from Jack. We're starting off fresh. And we know that eventually they're going to help us. And no digs to my family or my friends or anything. But like my therapist helped me to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I made that call on Christmas Day, and every month I'm still going to therapy. Sometimes I go twice a month. But, you know, I'm a huge proponent for any type of therapy.
Yeah. Was there anything for that worked really well for you that maybe you were shocked by in terms of like therapy or the tools you learned?
Yes. So I am obsessed with DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. And I tried CBT, but that requires homework, and I'm just not a homework person. so
Well,
DBT was better.
Sounds like dirty Skittles. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I gotta do what now?
Right. I'm not going to journal. Come on.
Like, well, I'm a level with you. I remember starting with that therapist. She's like, okay, just say the feeling and I had to put an emoji to describe the feeling, because that was the bare minimum that I was like, that's all I could give you. But it worked. But anyways. Okay, so DBT.
DBT, they taught me that in McLean Hospital. They have a whole like women's center for trauma and for women with borderline personality disorder, because they are very similar in their symptoms. Mm-hmm. And that was where I learned DBT, learned that all emotions are valid and that we just need to build a toolbox of coping skills that we're going to use, that we're going to work on in the times that we don't need them, so that we have them ready when we do actually need them.
Very cool. For those that are listening, how would you describe DBT?
So DBT goes into emotions in general, like goes through each emotion. And there are 4 main like tenets: are mindfulness, emotion regulation. Let's see, there's interpersonal communication, and then there is distress tolerance. So those 4 things are very important in DBT. And each feeling actually has its own coping skill. Like there's a series of coping skills, but you can take specific coping skills from there and attach them to the emotions that are most distressing to you, so that you can build the toolbox and have it at the ready.
Yeah. Can I ask, like, when you're going through your day, if something like triggers you, what do you do to bring Jennifer back down?
A lot of box breathing. That's one of my biggest ones. There's also a lot of great fun things that if you're in your house that are really great to have. I have a washcloth that I drown in water and then make it into a ball and put it in the freezer. And if I need to take my mind off of something, I go into that freezer, grab that washcloth and start pulling it apart. And it's really hard. So it changes your body temperature, which takes you out of that intense feeling that you need to step away from. And that one is one of my absolute favorites. At McLean, they used to give us clay, modeling clay, and they'd put a little bit of essential oil on it. You could pick whatever you wanted, lavender or citrus or whatever, and just using that as like a stress ball. When you're getting that scent and you're getting that feel, and it really, again, takes you out of that intensity and helps you to focus on your body.
Very cool. I have a bunch of these like little fidget toys. And I was talking to somebody at work the other day, and they were like, have you tried to freeze it? Put it in the freezer. It's really going to do wonders. And sure enough, but I think I do it if I'm anxious or something, like I need something. So I'm going to try the towel in the freezer. I feel like I would love that.
They also say you can do it with an orange, like a frozen orange, because it's so hard to rip the skin off of it when it's frozen. So you're really getting into it and getting away from that intensity.
Yeah. I love all these ideas. I'm going to try some of these.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. No, Crayola makes this great, and I'll send you a link to it. It's the perfect modeling clay that you can just pull and stretch and you can smell it. And it's like, oh, it's so good.
Okay. We need it. We're gonna look it up. UX, what do you do? I don't think I've ever asked you when you've had like a triggering moment in your day.
Well, if it's nice outside, I will go outside and scream.
Oh.
Because for me, you know what? We live on 8 acres and like nobody's going to hear me. So the day that I did do that, the mama deer and the baby deer were in the yard and I scared everybody. So it made me feel bad, right? So then I got mad at myself and I was like, fuck, well, this isn't going to work. So I reverted back to what I do when it's like wintertime is I do something with my hands. If my hands are busy, if I have something tactical in my hands, it can help me kind of refocus on what I'm doing. So it takes that anxiety out of my head. And it's a little different now that I own my own company. I have different types of stressors now, but I still find myself getting like pulled into some people's bullshit. And they're living rent free in my head. And I'm like, I need to figure out a way to like refocus on like the more positive things in my life. So a lot like what Jennifer said and what you said, Dirty Skills, is I try and do things that I have to physically do instead of like think about it or write something down. Like if I was going to journal, because sometimes journaling doesn't work. It works for most things, but not when I'm in that headspace. I will tell you though, the best one for me is yelling.
Do you yell words or just like a primal yell?
Primal yell, and it's always the word fuck.
Okay.
There you go.
Always.
Okay.
Well, I'm with you on the using your hands and getting things done. And that's why I created Moody, is I was in a group therapy and I had said, I'm so frustrated with my symptoms. I wish I had a monster that I could rip apart and throw across the road, drown in the water and light on fire and all this kind of stuff. And the people in the group were like, yeah, you should have that. And I was like, I should. And I'm not a seamstress or a tailor in any way, shape, or form, but I put together this plush monster. And I decided to make the arms, legs, and head of Velcro. And I made this weird looking monster and I called him PTSD Pete. And I started using him as part of my coping skill toolbox. And he didn't stay together really great, but it helped. It worked. And I realized if this can help me, it can help other people with their just getting out those frustrations. And so I decided to go to the SBA and talk to them. And they introduced me to a group that is now going to be all over the country, but started here in the Merrimack Valley in Massachusetts called E4All. And they were having an accelerator. And it was happening right during COVID. So this was something that I was like, okay, I can sit down and work on this while we're stuck inside. And that's how Moody was born. And it came from my frustrations, my need to just get that shit out.
I love actually that you didn't keep that to yourself and you want to share it with other people. And now they can go and buy this monster doll, right?
Yeah.
It's the coolest fucking thing ever.
I saw it. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to get one for Nugget because I feel like he would love that shit. Yeah. I'm
going to get one for myself because having a tactile response to like a stressor or an intrusive thought, I can't talk. Just be able to rip somebody's head off or rip their arm off. It's got to be like, God damn, that felt good.
It does. It really does. And I do it a lot during Zoom calls. You can be underneath ripping Moody apart while you're smiling and like, yeah, of course, I'll do that for you. Whatever you want.
In the meantime, Moody's got like pins in his eyes.
Exactly. And before Moody, I don't know if you've ever heard of Damn It dolls.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So that was, okay, I have a Damn It doll, but I can't rip it apart. So I need something else that I can just tear apart and hear that ripping sound and the satisfaction of it.
I can tell you if you beat a Damn It doll hard enough, her stuffing does come out.
Ooh.
Then get
I can
another one.
believe it. Yes.
If you get mad enough, it does come out.
Now I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
You have to get really mad and use like the edge of a counter and just keep at it for like 10 minutes.
That is, that's my next goal my damn it doll is going to burst open.
I want pictures.
Okay. I'll video it.
Tell me why the damn it doll is now in 412 pieces. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I love that.
And why the cat is now taking it outside to bury it. I just want to know.
Oh, my cat would be right there with me, ripping the stuffing out.
Heck yeah. That's like a group exercise. Get the cats involved. We're all there. I love that.
It's like a plan.
Right? So in the beginning, you said you wrote a love letter to yourself. And I really, really like that you said that. And I'm curious if this might be too deep of a question, I think, but you call it a love letter. Is it because that was when you learned to love yourself? Like seeking that help and diving and dividing your time into you, not just everything else that was going on?
Yeah, Moody really is that love letter for me. It gave me hope. They're that buddy that you can talk to and get out all of those feelings and not alienate people, not make people be worried about you, that kind of thing, where you can just take that extreme emotion and put it to work, but also knowing that when I put Moody back together again, that I can talk to myself and give myself grace and think more about, okay, well, what coping skill could I have used that would have helped me with that? Let me do that right now so that I can remember. So they signal a lot for me. And I get so much just joy out of seeing kids use it the same way that I use it.
That makes me smile. It made my heart feel good.
Oh. I have some questions for you.
Yes.
Oh.
I know, but I'm genuinely curious, even though I ask these all the time. If you could go back in time, your younger version of yourself, and give that younger version of yourself some advice, what would you say? And how old are you when you go back?
I would say I would be about 6 to 8 years old. And I would say, don't believe him. And I'm talking about my abuser. He used to tell me almost daily I was fat and ugly and no one would ever love me. And I would tell my little self, you are love. You have love to give. You can take love that others want to give you. You're not unlovable.
Are you okay there, Skittles?
Yeah, I'm thinking of how did you learn what love was?
That's a really good question, because I was never told it when I was a child. Again, my mother was she decided to put her life into her work. And so she really wasn't around much. I had a Nana, I had my grandmother that lived in an in-law section of our house. And so she was there to go to, but she was also very limited. I think I really learned love later on in college with my friends. They really did show me that they cared for me and they loved me. And I still have these same friends. We just turned 50 last year and went on a Mexico vacation together. I'm seeing them tonight because one of our friends is getting married soon. And they really did showed me the light, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel where there are people who care about you and support you.
I love that so much. You gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, I had to ask that question because as soon as you said it, I'm like, if that was the upbringing, how could you learn what love was? So thank you for sharing that. What would you say the hardest lesson you've had to learn so far has been?
Control isn't necessary for life. The perfectionist, the people pleaser in me believes in that control. And when you have kids, you have no control whatsoever. And that was a lesson I had to learn because I was trying to control my children. And it wasn't helpful for them at all. And it wasn't helpful for me to try. And that stemmed from my trauma and also my upbringing of the better to look good than to feel good. And so that need to control needed to be thrown out the door. Just let go of it. You don't need control to live a happy, healthy life.
Do you still practice that every day, or is like, I feel like that's got to be hard. Like for me, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I know, amen. But I'm like, shit, that's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, when you're a perfectionist, that is extremely hard because perfectionists and control go hand in hand. Because that's the only way to be perfect is to control everything.
Which is impossible.
Yes.
I will tell you, that was the hardest thing I had to learn how to do, was to give up control and just let Jesus take the wheel, because sometimes, like, we're our own worst enemy. We truly are. And so having learned that from you, Jennifer, that you've learned to like kind of deal with that. I'll be 62 in about 10 days. I'm still learning.
Happy birthday.
I know. I look 12. I feel 200 easily. But it's so hard to learn that. But once you start to really dig into like self-love and self-care and want to feel better, that's one of the best ways to do it, is just give up the fucking control. Just because it's just not going to make you happy. And it just drags you down. It's
a burden. You don't realize it. Yeah. You don't know. You don't know what life's like without that burden sometimes, but it definitely is a burden.
And it's scary because control feels safe, right?
It does.
Well, yeah.
Because I know it's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. But when I give it up, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah, it almost triggers it for me. Like, I'm like, oh, if I want to feel safe, I'm like, I've got to do all these things, or like, I have to know what's happening. Or it's a hamster wheel, is what I'm saying.
It is a super hamster wheel.
Oh my God, that's the best way to say it.
Yes.
The hamster wheel, a roller coaster, but the hamster wheel is just running in place.
Yeah, and like spokes are falling off, but you're still like fucking, oh, damn.
So I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
My first one is, if your anxiety had a theme song, what is it and why?
Ooh. Oh, the Sex Pistols immediately come to mind.
I love that.
Anarchy in the UK. That's what comes up.
Yep. Nice.
And I adore that song. So, but it comes up because it's so raw. It's so punk. But also something that I can feel safe in too, though. Yeah. You know, if I listen to the music that I listened to as a kid growing up, like I'm planning on doing a whole sleeve of my favorite bands. I started with 9 Inch Nails, so I have the 9 Inch Nails one on. But music really is the calm space for me. And as industrial and punk as it is the better.
Nice. Very cool. Can I ask what bands you have planned for your sleeve?
Yes. So The Cure, Depeche Mode, Tool. Let's see. Also, the Pixies, Nirvana. I was going to do the Foo Fighters, but I'm a little upset with them right now.
I know why. Yeah. I know. He's like ruined a lot for me.
Yeah. And Joss Freese is one of my all-time favorite drummers. So I was really sad about that. But yeah. And then, so Maynard Keenan is the singer for Tool. He also has 2 other bands, A Perfect Circle and Pussifer. And Pussifer is kind of his experimental stuff, and I want to get the logo for that. It's a like demon woman's face, but it's a cartoon. Cool. It's super cool. I'll have to send that really to you too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I love that. All right, so I have 2 more questions. Yes. It's kind of like a 2-parter. What is your favorite word?
Fuck.
Yeah. God, that's your soul sister right there.
That's my soul sister. I love her.
And my boys have adopted that as well.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not just a sentence and answer. It works for everything.
I know.
And what is your least favorite word?
Moist.
Oh my God. G-Rex, this is literally you.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's hilarious.
Literally.
Moist is the
literally.
grossest word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nasty. There's a couple other nasty ones that I don't like. Moist is it's on the top of the list.
I don't want anything moist. No.
Yeah.
That means, unless it's zucchini bread, which I just made. That needs to be moist. But otherwise, I don't want anything else.
No, we don't. So where can our listeners find you?
So you can find me two different ways on My Moody Monster. So it's mymoodymonster.com. And my email is jen@mymoodymonster.com. Anybody who wants to reach out and talk about emotions and things that need to be discussed, depression, things help to get you places to where you need to go. I'm always welcome to talk. My YouTube channel has Moody Talks, which each month I pick an emotion and go talk about the emotion and give coping skills through DBT. And you can find me on the socials under My Moody Monster. And I also have a podcast now, and it is called When Not Yet Becomes Right Now, based on that journey. And so that you can find that on all your favorite podcast platforms.
This has been such a great conversation.
Yes.
Thank you for being on our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I knew this conversation was going to be incredible. You ladies are incredible.
Hi, all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm G-Rex.
And I'm Dirty Skittles.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'd love to listen to your feedback.
We can't do this without you guys.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.